The following episode contains substance abuse, suicide, and sensitive topics. Continue at your own risk. Enjoy. I promise, I will always love you. No! Why? Why? Someone call an ambulance! Why did he do it? I know that since the pandemic started, it's been tough. He dropped out of college because he didn't understand the online classes. And the rent is 3 months past due. But we would have found a way out. All we needed was time, someone to care, someone to tell him he was not alone. That's what Kate thought. As she collapsed to the ground, crying, seeing his lifeless body, or should I say corpse, whatever was left of it, just lying there in a puddle of blood, mush, and shattered bones. Her vision started to get blurry as she started to faint. When she finally woke up, she saw that next to her was a young female crying. Did she know her boyfriend by any chance? Wait, black clothes? I don't date broke boy's hoodie. No, impossible. This girl was her. But then, if it was her, how could she possibly see herself? What are you do? But before she could even finish her sentence, her body got up and looked straight towards her and said, "My name's Despair, and I'm Agony, and no one can see you. Have a nice trip." Nice trip? Thought Kate. The air started to feel harder and harder to breathe. Then, all of a sudden, she was being dragged. By the second, she was getting further and further away from her deceased boyfriend, flashing through large buildings, flashing through cars, till he only looked like a small grain of sand. No, what's going on? Then, all of a sudden, the lights of the city just vanished, disappeared into nothingness. Kate was being dragged into a large void and started falling. She was falling into nothingness. Am I going to die? Thought Kate, as she plummeted into the dark unknown, into a world she had never seen before. Then, she impacted face first into the ground. She could finally breathe, but the pain was immense. She rolled over and the first thing she could see were buildings deteriorating. It smelled like smoke and piss. But when she got up and started to look around, she noticed one interesting thing. The sun wasn't there, or the moon. No stars. The only bit of light that illuminated the place came from a thin outer circle surrounding the entrance of the void. Another thing that she noticed was that she was at the base of a huge mountain. And at the peak, closer to the entrance of the void, were cities. It was very far away out in the distance, but she could see what appeared to be sparkling skyscrapers. But before she could take a step, she noticed how different human-like creatures started to approach her. They started to crawl out of these buildings surrounding her. "Leave me alone! I don't have money!" screamed Kate, as she started to run away from the mob that almost looked as if they were attacking her, like zombies running towards prey. "We just want to talk to you," said a huge figure, drooling with what looked like blood, his skin oozing with maggots. As she kept running in between the dark alleys, trying to get away, and while looking over her shoulder, she bumped into a tall man that felt like a concrete wall, knocking her down to the floor. As she raised her sight to see the imposing figure, she noticed he looked normal. As a matter of fact, beyond normal, almost godlike. He had smooth olive skin and wore a tailor-made suit fit to perfection, and his hair was dark, long and flowing. But most importantly, he smelled good. "Please, help me," said Kate, while groveling at the man's feet. Now, are you lost? You shouldn't be here," said the tall man, with his arms wide open. Kate didn't think about it for a second and jumped straight into his arms, seeking protection, wanting to feel safe, breathing heavily from so much exhaustion. With just a glance from the tall man, another imposing but extremely robust figure, wearing a straight black suit, stepped in front of the mob, and with just his presence alone, made the mob disperse. As a matter of fact, it made them run for their lives, running in fear. Now, it's okay. You are safe now. My name is Luster, and our friend here is Creed. And who might you be?" asked Luster, while wiping Kate's tears away with a handkerchief. My name's Kate! Kate DeBoratesta. Now, Miss DeBoratesta, you must be terrified and probably have a lot of questions. But I have somewhere to be, so for right now, you are going to stay here with our friend Creed. You will be safe in the car. So, be a good girl and don't cause Creed any problems, alright? Said Luster, while walking towards the vehicle, opening the door for Kate. While sitting in the back seat, Kate's tears started to roll down her cheeks. The memories of everything that had just happened that day were so much to bear. The thought of her boyfriend committing suicide, those people taking over her body, not to mention the impact with the ground, the uncertainty of being in an unknown world. Kate had almost fainted during the trip due to the lack of oxygen. It was too much. The windows in the vehicle seemed tinted. However, Kate could see the creatures outside. The creatures doing terrible, heinous things, devouring weaker creatures. What's going on, Creed? Where in the hell are we? Creed just chuckled. Hell, funny. We are not in hell, are we? Said Kate. Before Creed could answer, Luster entered the car, saying while messing up Creed's perfectly combed hair, "Did you miss me, sunshine?" Then looked over to Kate. "Hope I didn't make you wait long, Miss DeBoratesta." Kate, you can call me Kate. Aw, isn't she just adorable, Creed? Just adorable! Well then, if that's the case, then you can keep calling me Luster. We can be on our way now, Creed. Luster sat down, carrying a large leather duffel bag. As the vehicle kept driving through the streets, Kate couldn't believe her eyes. On the streets, they were filled with corpses. Creatures having orgies with both living and non-living creatures. Mutilations. Are those humans? Asked Kate, while holding tightly to Luster's arm. In a way, said Luster, while petting Kate's head. Humans, chuckled Creed. Now, anything you want to share with the class, Creed? Asked Luster, in a bit amused but also annoyed tone. Creed just kept quiet and kept driving. If they're humans, why don't they look like us? Asked Kate, while looking up at Luster. His eyes gazed upon her like warm sunlight on a cold winter day. Impossible. What was this feeling? Kate desired Luster. She wanted to rip apart his suit and get dominated by him. Why was she having these feelings? Her boyfriend from years had just passed away right in front of her. Luster grabbed her chin and said, "We are all humans, just some of us more human than others." During the trip, Kate told Luster the whole story of how her life was tough, struggling financially and emotionally, how she couldn't catch a single break, and she explained the feeling of seeing her boyfriend jump off that building, and how his warm blood felt when it grazed her skin. After a few hours of driving, the scene changed. The closer they got to the top of the mountain, shops, restaurants, and houses. Kate also noticed there was a form of electricity, and these creatures began to look more and more human, but none of them remotely close to how Luster and Creed look. Are we going to the top of the mountain? Asked Kate. Aren't you just the smartest thing? You said you want to go back to Earth, right? See that ring of light that surrounds the top of the void? Well, that's the only way of doing it, kiddo. Kate's heart was filled with joy. She was finally going to go back home. After a couple hours of driving, they crossed a huge golden gate that led them straight into a tunnel. On the other side, Kate could finally see those huge black skyscrapers, the streets paved in gold, and the light that illuminated the streets were floating diamonds. Kate had never seen designer stores or how the uber rich lived, but she could tell these places were way out of her league. The vehicle came to a stop, and Creed and Luster descended the vehicle while Kate, ashamed, just sat there. Now, silly, are you not coming? Asked Luster, chuckling while maintaining the door open for Kate. Thank you. I can carry your bags for you if you'd like. Aren't you just the sweetest? Isn't she just the sweetest, Creed? Yes, Lust, the sweetest, answered Creed while handing the key over to a valet. But something was quite off about these people. You could tell who the really wealthy ones were, because all of the help were wearing masks. Blank slate white pearl mask. No expression. You couldn't even see their facial features. Not even holes for their eyes to see. That's extremely funny, thought Kate. But wait a second. Luster treated Creed like a bodyguard. Driver. Then how come he didn't wear a mask? Hurry up, kiddo, and pick something to wear. Wait, clothes for me? No, I can't. Of course you can, silly. I can't have you wearing I don't date broke boys hoodies now, can I? But I don't have enough money, said Kate, while scrambling her hands in her pocket trying to find a few bucks. Luster just smiled with his oversized grin and said, "It's okay. I get it. Sometimes you just need a little break. Plus, look how stunning you look in this." Luster's super rich. This is probably just pocket change, thought Kate. Then, she started picking different types of clothes. Most of the clothes in the store was a bit provocative. But then, she noticed Creed came back with a bag. "Did you get something for yourself, Creed?" asked Kate, while trying on a skirt. "Be a darling and carry these things to Kate's room, won't you?" said Luster, while handing over the purchases over to Creed. "Wait, my room?" Kate was confused. "I thought we were going to the top of the void tonight." "Kate, darling, can't you see it's nighttime? The person who we have to talk to is not available." "I guess that makes sense," thought Kate. As they kept walking through the bottom floor of the building, Kate saw a variety of luxury brands, even an exotic car dealership. As they kept walking, they passed through two clear doors that looked like the entrance to a lobby. "Oh, this must be the hotel room that they reserved for me. How nice of them," she thought, as they took the elevator to one of the higher floors. "This is going to be your floor, Kate. If you need us, just ring." "Wait, you guys are staying in this hotel too?" "Hotel. Well, go on, Creed. Tell her, since you seem to be so talkative today." This is Luster's building." Oh no, I'm sorry for taking up your time." No, not at all. You see, I am incredibly called towards you." Footsteps were heard, and as soon as Kate heard the door close behind Creed, she lashed towards Luster, dangling her hands through his luscious flowing hair, allowing her mouth to be viciously abused by Luster's tongue. "Wait, what am I doing? My boyfriend just died. I was with him for years. I was willing to give my life up for him. But why can't I control myself?" thought Kate, as her clothes fell to the floor. "I will now give you some of my power," said Lust, while raising Kate's frail body over his head to eat her out, his tongue making her body tremble. Kate felt as she had ran a marathon, so exhausted. But why was she enjoying it so much? How was this even possible? She was in physical pain, but her delicate body was getting tossed around, smashing into artwork, breaking furniture. She could barely think straight. She opened her eyes to stare at Luster's body, just to see that his suit had melted onto the floor. His body was covered with tattoos. He didn't look like himself. Kate got a bit scared. Before she could move, Luster's long hair had her pinned down against the floor, his tongue almost suffocating her mouth as she was getting viciously penetrated. What was this feeling? She was about to climax. Impossible, she had never climaxed before, especially not during intimacy. She had almost lost her consciousness, her mind floating in clouds with extremely strong winds. Her walls couldn't stop twitching. She was about to climax when she felt like 1,000 large spikes penetrating her body. A soundless gasp was everything she could let out due to the pain. The pain had left her in shock. The clouds were quickly covered in blood, and in just an instant she was brought back to reality. She noticed she was on the floor trembling, oozing blood and fluids. She could barely open her eyes. She tried calling Lust for help, but she couldn't move. She saw how all of Luster's tattoos were gone. "Help me," Kate screamed in her mind. Even though she couldn't make a sound, Luster somehow understood and kissed her on the forehead, saying, "It's okay. Trust me. You will need this in order to survive." Creed stepped into the room. "Are you seriously doing this to her?" said Creed, while handing over a black silk robe to Luster. "She said she wanted to escape the void. Let's see if she has what it takes. Clean her up and get her ready for tomorrow's main event. Let's hope she makes it through the night." Creed sighed. "Good night, Lust." "Good night, Creed," said Luster, while again messing up Creed's perfectly combed hair. Creed carried Kate's frail, trembling body to the bath to wash off all of her blood and the rest of Luster's fluids. "Help me, Creed," were the only words Kate could say before losing consciousness. She saw how Creed transformed, his already large muscles even larger, covering them with tattoos. "Not this again," thought Kate. Then, Creed bit into his lip, drawing gold blood and proceeding to kiss Kate. The flavor of his blood was so heavenly, so smooth. Not even the silkiest chocolate could compare. "Thank you," said Kate before dozing off. The following day, Kate was so dizzy she could barely open her eyes. She noticed Luster was wearing a snake skin suit, with a platinum cane in the shape of a snake in one hand, and in the other, a platinum mask with a snake pattern. Skipping around, humming, he was obviously excited, but why? Creed was carrying her trembling body. He was wearing a beautiful gold suit with scales. Also looked like a snake pattern, with a solid gold mask covering the outline of his eyes. Kate was a bit worried. As her eyes looked down, she noticed she was wearing a black snake lingerie with platinum accents, and she had some sort of a tattoo on her chest. "What the fuck, Luster?" thought Kate. She wasn't that worried. She was no longer in pain thanks to Creed's help. But the sleepiness, the dizziness would not disappear. Her world kept spinning around, her muscles twitching. She could see out the vehicle's window how they made their way up the mountain. "This pain is okay. I'll be home soon." Or so she thought. As they arrived at the top of the mountain, Kate saw a massive skyrise, at least 10 times the size of Luster's building. Creed drove into a parking spot exclusively for Lust Corp. Kate was optimistic. "Where are we?" mumbled Kate. "You said, silly, you wanted to go back to Earth, right? Well, this is the only way of doing so." Creed carried Kate through a massive hallway, lined in platinum, with frescoes of Luster painted all over the walls. At the end, a huge black door led to a massive open arena, with the outer ring of the void illuminating the entire area. Luster took off 2 of his rings, slipping them on Kate's finger, one in each hand, saying, "The whips are my favorite." Then, Creed gave Luster a tiny black pearl, which Luster bursted in his mouth using his teeth, creating a black mist, then proceeded to kiss Kate. Every bone, every ligament in Kate's body broke and tore apart for a split second. But then, Kate could see everything clearly. Her senses were enlightened. She felt strong, superhuman. She could sense particles in the air. She was no longer drowsy or sleepy. Luster stopped for a second and grabbed Kate's chin, tilting it towards his face, taking a closer look at her, when he noticed a thin, almost impossible to see, gold ring outlining Kate's iris. He made his way to Creed, messing up his perfectly combed hair. "Creed, you are such a softie," then teasing him, lightly slapping him in the cheek a couple times. "Oh well, that's why I love you. Let's go. Best of luck." Oh, how I simply adore you, kiddo, said Luster, while his arm was over Creed's shoulder, waving goodbye to Kate as they made their way down the hallway. Behind them, the door closing. Then all of a sudden, the floor started to move. The floor had moved Kate towards the center of the arena. And from the center, she could see the doors on the other side of the arena. What's going on? No, something's wrong. She looked around and saw a multitude of very well-dressed people in the stands. And then she saw Luster in what looked to be like an exclusive box, talking to other people, exchanging money. Oh no, did he sell me? What's going on? Am I going to die here? You have to use the rings. Kate heard Creed's voice, but how? How was this even possible? He was sipping on a drink. His lips didn't even move. Isn't she just adorable? Said Luster to a group of people, all talking, laughing, stuffing their mouths. Listen to me, Kate. Use those rings to create whips. Creed, help me. Get me out of here. I don't want to die. Kate and Creed were speaking telepathically. Calm the fuck down. You said you want to go back home, don't you? Well, this is the only way of doing so. Luster gave you a drop of his power, but even if it's just a drop, should be enough to defeat any creature that comes that way. Just concentrate. Remember that pain, remember the lust. That will give you power. The creature got to the center of the arena. Its huge lumps underneath its skin kept moving. A huge blob that must have been at least 12 feet tall. Then, not a single voice was heard. Throughout the entire arena, everyone went silent. Ladies and gentlemen, the bidding will begin and everyone started chanting. 3, 2, 1. A variety of different faces were displayed over the arena, underneath the void. I'm scared, Creed. Don't be. Luster and I aren't gonna let you die out here. Trust me, I'm gonna do something to help you out. The same voice was heard and the whole arena roared. Congratulations to His Royal Highness, Creed! Wow! Gold standard! The crowds went crazy, screaming Creed's name. Creed! Echoed throughout the crowds, throughout the arena. And in the sky, you could see Creed's name and face popped up. And underneath them, read the number 28 million gold. Creed! Silence! Said the announcer, as Creed raised his pointer finger towards the arena sky, saying, The Midas touch! The crowd went wild. The arena started to transform almost into a maze, but not quite. Kate could see the huge blob, but spikes started rising up from the ground, all of them in different directions and angles. All of them gorgeous and stunning, made out of pure gold, just the color of wealth. Now listen to me, Kate. Once this battle begins, I can no longer talk to you or help you. These spikes don't allow that creature to stay in its original form, forcing it to separate. And trust me, once it separates, it's weak, and you can destroy it. Don't let that fucker trap you. If they do, they're fucking kamikazes. They will explode if they... So trust me, letting it trap you is the last thing you want to do. Then, the crowd started to count down. 3, 2... Be careful, Kate, as if you touch one of those spikes, it will turn you into gold. And that spike is 1! The siren sounded, and Creed's voice stopped. Spikes... The light that reflected off the spikes was incredibly gorgeous, stunning, almost mesmerizing. Kate extended her hand, seeing if it didn't turn her into gold. This one must be okay, thought Kate, as she made her way towards the top to get a better view. Okay, let's see what's going on. But as soon as she made it towards the top, a punch sent her flying, almost getting impaled by one of those enormous spikes. She was still alive, but she did not leave unscathed. A superficial cut along the side of her abdomen. But did it hurt like hell? Who, or better yet, what in the hell had punched her? Looking up, she saw a lot of smaller creatures surrounding her. Who the fuck invited these dwarves? Thought Kate, as she started running for her life. Looks like your girl is done for, Luster. But I have to admit, it did look like it was going to be a good show, said another attendee at the event. A slender man, incredibly thin, with not a single gram of fat on his body, his skin almost being sucked in by his bones, accompanied by two voluptuous women, at least 400 pounds each. Hey, use the whips, silly, chuckled Luster, while swinging his hands playfully as if they were whips. Oh, that's gonna be a hefty fine there, Lust, said the slender man. Fuck the fines. I promised a hell of a show now, didn't I? Ha ha ha. Now, that you did, said the slender man, the cling of the glasses accompanied by laughter. How could he be having the time of his life while I'm here struggling for mine? Thought Kate, while an explosion sent her flying. Oh no! Kate had let her guard down, enough for one of those small creatures to explode right next to her, sending her flying straight towards her doom. She couldn't avoid it this time. She was heading straight towards the tip. Gotcha, bitch. But just before Kate was impaled, whips came out of the rings in each hand, destroying the spike and killing a dwarf who was hiding behind the spike, ready to attack. As Kate saw the dead dwarf lying on the floor, oozing jizz through every hole in his body, his genitalia, his eyes, his mouth, his ears, she thought to herself, wow, these things aren't that strong. I can kill them. I can survive. Look, she did it, said Luster, while wrapping his arm around Creed, messing up his perfectly combed hair. Then, raising his glass while taking a sip, whispering, now, things are going to get truly interesting. In the arena, Kate had gotten confidence, chasing the dwarves all over the place. Those little bastards tried hiding behind the gold spikes, but Kate would pulverize them to pieces, thanks to her powerful whips. Jizz and dust filled the arena. But when the dust had finally settled, she noticed that all the dwarves were gone. Yay, I'm the best, or so she thought. In front of her was a massive, almost ape-like looking man. The dwarves weren't running away and hiding behind those spikes, but strategically, the dwarves were drawing Kate in so that she would destroy the spikes. And now that the arena was almost leveled, the dwarves had all merged into a huge ape-like creature. At the beginning, individually, they were all too weak, but now they were so powerful that not even an impact with the whip would make them even flinch. As Kate tried to run away, the huge ape-like creature started leveling the field, destroying spikes. With just one swift impact, threw Kate across the field, across the arena, flinging her around like a ragdoll from one side to another. All poor Kate could do was run, trying to run away, and she looked up at Luster begging for mercy, help, anything. You could see the desperation in Creed's eyes, not Luster's. He was as chill as a cucumber, a chill cucumber. Only a few spikes remained, with dust and jizz covering what once was radiant gold. There was nowhere left to hide. The whips had absolutely no effect on the ape-like creature, now walking confidently towards Kate. As it kept barging its way, destroying everything, clearing the path straight at Kate, she noticed something spectacular. That's it! This must be what Creed was referring to! So with all her strength, she ripped out one of the spikes using her whips, lunged it straight into the air, then jumped above everything, jumped above the crowd, above the people. She was almost eye level with Luster in the exclusive box. In midair, above the spike, she did an amazing front flip, and with her heel at full impact, she kicked the bottom of the spike, driving it straight towards the ape, trying to viciously penetrate it. But the ape was too strong. He was able to stop the spike, just making a superficial cut on his chest. But all of a sudden, the whole arena went quiet. The only thing you could hear was the ape laughing hysterically in the center of that arena. He started laughing. He tried to rip out the spike, but by the time his first knee hit the ground, both his hands and Part of his upper body had already been turned to gold. By the end of the day, the only thing left in the center of that arena was a laughing, golden statue. The crowd roared as the Midas Touch Arena transformed back to normal. "Bravo! Bravo!" said Luster, throwing a golden rose towards the center of the arena. Then rained a variety of luxurious items: golden flowers, jeweled flowers, coins, clothes, bags, you name it. Kate finally took a sigh of relief. She felt praised as if she finally mattered. Exhausted with relief, she fell to her knees, crying. But she was still alive, and that's all that mattered. "Was this to your liking, beautiful?" asked Luster to a gorgeous woman, dressed in a long, stunning dress made out of black diamonds. Indeed it was. "A pleasure as always, Luster. All mine, all mine. Now, it's time to go get our girl Creed, our little champion." The arena doors opened, and a few men wearing those blank pearl masks came to retrieve the ape-like statue. "You did it! You did it! You did it, darling!" That voice was Luster's. Kate got up, running towards Luster. "You son of a bitch!" said Kate, while lashing her whip straight at Luster's face. But before it could connect, in just a second, Creed had put himself in front of Kate and delivering such a strong blow to her torso, knocking her down to the floor to a state of almost unconsciousness. "This wasn't necessary, Luster." Now, where would be all the fun in it all? Our Kate has to learn a lesson, one way or another. I'll be taking back my precious now." Luster snapped his fingers, and the whips turned back into rings, leaving Kate's hands back into Luster's. And with that, her tattoo instantly disappearing. Kate felt weak. That energy, that strength, it all disappeared. She no longer felt the pain of the previous night. But damn, did Creed hit hard. Looks like our beloved Kate doesn't understand just how lucky she is. "Creed, get ready. We are going there." "It's not too much, Luster in just a split second pulled Creed in, punching him in the torso with such a strength, such brute force, that it burned through Creed's clothes, making him slightly bend over, almost as taking a step back. Then Luster bended over to his ear. "The next time you want to punch someone, actually punch them. Don't start going all softy on me now." "Yes, sir." Then Luster smiled, messing up Creed's perfectly combed hair. "Very well. Now that we're all on the same page, let's be on our way." It took a couple of hours of driving till they reached the entrance of the lowest level of the void. "Are we descending all the way to the bottom?" thought Kate. Just thinking about it, not saying it. "Don't be afraid, Kate. We will not abandon you at the bottom of the void. I just want to give you a surprise. Something special, since you were our victorious little champion. Not to mention, the drive would bore me to tons and it's incredibly time-consuming." "We've arrived," said Creed. This didn't look like anything special, more like an abandoned warehouse. Men with black masks opened the doors and escorted Luster to what could only be described as a VIP lounge, directly from hell.
"It's always a pleasure, Sir Luster. I hope your Royal Highness has a wonderful time as well."
This person looked human, but it was hard to describe. He looked human, only his skin was pale and without life, as if he had a filter, an empty, living human filter, but with no life. Luster smiled, raising 4 fingers.
"Where are we?"
asked Kate Creed. Now, darling, shut up and enjoy the show." In the center of what could only be described as a smaller dugout arena, nothing compared to the one where Kate fought. This one was just dirty, stained concrete. Walls filled with concrete and dirt as much as the floor. No luxury or gold, nothing. Not even stands. Just a large velvet couch, where Creed and Luster sat with Kate in the middle. A young girl, only wearing rags, chained up, was brought to the center of the arena. Oh no, what's going on? This girl looks younger than me. She must be in trouble. "Luster, I said enjoy the show, darling!" The men with black masks brought 4 creatures. Wait a second. I've seen them before. Rotten skin, maggots oozing. These look like the humanoid creatures Kate saw at the bottom. No, so horrifying. Kate looked away, but Lester slapped the shit out of her and said, Now, enjoy the show. Now, I said, enjoy the show. Help me! Please help me! Please! Don't let them devour me! Please help me! Devour me, thought Kate. The masked men left the creatures there, chained up, with the young girl in the center, and each one of the creatures chained up to a corner of the dugout arena. Then, Lester pulled out one of his black pearls and elevated it over everyone's head in the center of the arena. The creatures started to go insane, jumping, banging themselves against the wall. Please, sir, please stop. I promise I will do anything. Please stop, sir. Please. But as soon as Lester sat down, the chains were let loose and all of them went rushing towards the little girl. She tried running away, but it was too late. She couldn't. One of them dived in, ripping apart her leg. Please. Little by little, she was being devoured. Bites by bites, ripping off her face apart the flesh. The abdomen, not a single piece of flesh was going to waste. Kate looked away, crying, devastated. How could these people be so cruel? Lester grabbed her head, turning it back towards that small arena, using his fingers to maintain her eyes open. Enjoy the show! Fun's just getting started. When not even bones were left of that small, innocent girl. The creatures who were left, who now looked more like humans. 2 men and 2 women started to fight, devouring each other. One of the males in horror, scared, stayed out of it. He ran towards the corner to hide, curled up in a fetal position, hoping nobody would see him. The 2 females quickly teaming up on the male. He fought bravely, but soon was devoured. But then, the bigger female, who by now was almost 3 times her original size, attacked the smaller one, biting off her throat, the head rolling towards the male hiding in the corner, her lifeless eyes staring at him as if warning him of the inevitable. The arena started to shake with every step the female took. She made her way towards that poor male, shaking. He couldn't speak, but if he could, he probably would be pleading for his life. Just making sounds with the occasional no. But she didn't care. He probably weighed close to 600 pounds by the time she got to him. When she picked him up, opening her mouth wide, swallowing him whole, head first, till you could see his feet stop dangling halfway down. Now, the visible naked beast woman made her way towards Kate, raising the other female's head as if making an offering to her master. Lester used his powers to drop it on Kate's lap. Please, no, Lester. Now, don't you know, darling, it's rude to reject food. Lester had let go of Kate's head so she could pick it up, getting it closer and closer to her mouth. Wide open now. Go ahead and take a big, juicy bite. The taste was of rotten flesh. No amount of seasoning could make it taste any better. How could someone eat something so rotten, so disgusting?
Thank you,
said Kate, as she tossed it back to the arena, pieces of blood and flesh still fresh in her mouth. Marvelous! Marvelous! Absolutely stunning! Lester snapped, making the black pearl descend to the ground. The female caught it, jumping around happy, celebrating, then ate it. Such joy spread through her body. The feelings were such that her whole body started to twitch to a point where she peed herself, filling the arena with such a raunchy scent. Then she went from close to 700 pounds to a fit 150.
Thank you very much, sir,
said the female, kneeling, bowing down in her own piss, to thank Lester in now understandable English. Now then, wasn't that just delightful? I hope you learned your lesson, Kate. That could have well have been you down there. So, you can now start being a little bit more grateful, don't you think? On the ride back, Kate was very grateful to Luster, thinking he's right. It probably gets worse the deeper and deeper you go into the void. So, I'm very lucky, since he saved me from the deepest parts of the void. He probably saved me from a very, very horrible fate. Back at Luster's building, Lust Tower, you could hear a faint cry coming from Kate's floor. No matter how much water kept rushing through Kate's soft skin and mouth, she could not erase the scent and flavor of the horrid blood and rotten tissue. The death, she couldn't get it out of her mouth. The images, the emotions she felt. But most importantly, the fear. Not the fear of losing or dying, or even the fear of Luster, but the fear of losing him. Losing Luster was equivalent to dying. What else could she do if she was sent back to the depths of the void? As a matter of fact, if she hadn't bumped into Luster, she might have already died that same night in the dark alley.
No, I have to be strong, take advantage of this opportunity and make it out of this void,
thought Kate. While drying herself up, she made her way towards her bed, but she noticed her bedroom door was slightly open, and in the living room laid a mountain of gifts. Wait a second. Were these... Yes, these gifts. They were the ones from the arena, the ones the people threw at her at the end of the battle. Luster wants you to wear this, said Creed, while serving himself a glass from behind the bar.
Oh, Creed, you scared me,
answered Kate, trying uncomfortably, moving her hands to cover her naked body still moist. You're nothing special, honey. Trust me, I've seen a lot of women in my time, so hurry up and get dressed.
Are these...
Yes, the gifts from the arena. Whatever you don't want, there's an exchange center a few blocks away. You can take them there and they'll give you gold for it.
Wow! Do I have a lot here?
Asked Kate, letting her wet towel fall to the floor. Creed finished sipping what could only be described as whiskey. 537 items, 3,000, maybe 5,000. Then, you have this rose Luster gave you, and this dress given by Madame herself. Is are worth a pretty penny. So, I'd personally say you did right about well. Kate took the dress off the golden hanger. A beautiful strapless dress made out of black diamonds and black gold lining. This dress looks like the one that gorgeous woman wore. Could this be her gift? She thought to herself. It fit her like a glove. Perfectly. Kate then proceeded to open a box with golden high heels and put them on. Wow, they fitted her perfectly too!
How do I look? Gorgeous, just gorgeous, darling. Isn't she the most gorgeous, Creed?
Said Luster while entering the floor. Let's be on our way now. We don't want to make Madame wait now, do we? Said Luster while kissing Kate, groping her, sticking his tongue down her throat. Kate looked absolutely stunning. She didn't have any makeup, but her natural beauty outshined the diamonds in her dress.
Back to the arena?
Asked Kate, a bit worried. Only to the tower, darling. No fighting for a while. Unless you want to, of course. Chills ran down Kate's spine. She knows Luster said no fighting, but the hallway, the ceilings, the doors, everything just made Kate a bit uneasy. Everyone was a bit too quiet in the elevator. Big smiles, everyone, said Luster. The elevator door opened to a marvelous event. Everything was so glamorous. The decor, triple height ceilings, with what could only be described as a diamond waterfall in the middle of the great gala. Not to mention the food, but the main attraction was the people. Everyone looked out of this world. Creed, Luster, Madame, said Luster, walking towards that gorgeous woman with his arms wide open. She smiled as she tightened with all her strength his crotch, clutching it, while saying,
Dear Creed, come here and give me a kiss now, will you?
Kate was puzzled. She rejected Luster but stuck her tongue down Creed's throat. How was this possible? Yes, Creed was an extremely attractive, tall individual, with his amber golden eyes and his perfectly combed golden blonde hair, but not as attractive as Luster.
Kate, so glad you could make it.
Oh, this was skewed, but okay. Madame's tongue was down Kate's throat. Kate wasn't into women, not at all. First time she'd ever even touched a woman. She felt soft, so much more gentle and at the same time passionate sensation. The mix of emotions down her throat, but surprisingly enough, she wasn't disgusted by the idea. Rather instead pleased. Her body started to get filled with warmth, fluids dripping down her thigh.
Luster, I'm going to borrow her for a second,
said Madame as they made their way through the Grand Gala away from the ruckus.
Wow. Yes, indeed.
In front of them was the golden-like ape statue Kate had defeated earlier that same day. Before Kate knew it, they were outside on a floating balcony, overlooking everything. The wind from outside the void funneling in. The wind from the outside of the void funneling in was as soft as a past memory that once brought joy to one's life. Freedom was so far but so close at the same time.
Do you know where you are, Kate?
Whistled Madame in Kate's ear, hugging her from behind.
The void?
Madame chuckled.
This is not Earth, love. You know about Earth?
Asked Kate, her eyes filled with excitement, now staring directly at Madame.
I do. I am what you Earthlings call death.
Kate took a step back.
It's okay to be afraid, love. We aren't humans. I mean, in a way we are, but not quite. Then, what are you? The real question, love, is what is a soul doing in a world of emotions?
Emotions? Thought Kate.
You don't belong here, love. I don't. Can you please send me back to Earth? I can. But if I send you back, what will stop everyone from wanting to enter Earth freely? Tell me, Kate. How could you Earthlings resist the urge of ending your species if every negative emotion you had since the day you were born wouldn't disappear, but instead would stay there, growing, getting stronger, making you more angry, more greedy, more lustful, or in your case, more depressed, anxious, and that terrible self-hatred? But I assume you know there is a way out. Yes, Luster said I had to kill some creatures. I mean, emotions. You are right, love, you are right. But there is another way,
said Madame, while twirling Kate's hair.
1,000,000 gold. So, will that be cash or card? I'm messing with you. Everything in this world is made out of emotions. And 1 gold is the weakest emotion you can imagine. Like clothes, food, even the cars and the buildings, for instance. Each stone on your dress is worth at least 10 gold. So, you do the math.
10 gold? The dress had around 10,000 stones.
$100,000? I mean gold? Luster did say you were quite the bright one,
smiled Madame. And then, a man with an expensive suit and a blank black diamond mask stood by the balcony doorway.
Looks like it is time. Let's go, Kate. Oh no, I'm not ready to fight again. I'm still trembling from this morning's fight. Please, no. To eat, Kate.
At the table, the long table, Madame sat Greed right next to her, then Luster. Then Kate followed by a pair of female twins of a darker complexion. And across from Kate, a young girl. 10, maybe 12. Definitely not 13. The interesting fact was that she was incredibly slim and a bit too small to be sitting at the grown-ups table. She was wearing a black and pink dress with black and pink ponytails, her eyes staring straight at Kate. Next to her, a 600-pound woman, truly a sight to be seen. Her hair and body drenched in sweat. Her clothes appeared almost oozing. And, oh no, it looked like worms crawling underneath her skin. Could this have been one of those emotions like the ones Kate saw at the bottom of the void? At the abandoned warehouse, probably. The most interesting person at the table was that incredibly skinny, slender man. His skin almost transparent to a point where you could see every detail of every bone. That was not covered by his black with rose gold accent suit. His smile wide, showing both layers of teeth, sitting right next to Grand Madame. There were more emotions sat at the table, but those were the only ones who caught Kate's attention. Men in black diamond masks began serving dinner. Steak. But wait, was this made out of emotions? Million thoughts ran through Kate's mind. Could she even take a single bite? Just eat it, okay, Kate? That was Creed's voice. She looked over to see Creed, but Luster's eyes and everyone's on the table were staring straight at her. And even Luster, though he was smiling, his menacing eyes as if saying, eat or die. So Kate took a bite. It tastes just like meat. Actually, really good meat. Kate kept eating and everyone else started to eat. Everyone at the table was talking about economy, politics, and fights. Then, Madame stood up and the whole table went silent.
So then it's settled. After 3 victorious fights in the arena, Kate will face off with Antoinette for the championship.
The table roared in excitement, and the little girl across from the table, Kate, jumped at the table, making it shake, bending over towards Kate with a sinister smile over her face, similar to that very skinny man showing both rows of teeth.
So, little girl, are you ready to kill me?
Thank you for joining me on part 1 of this story called The Void. If you like this content, then by all means follow, like, and share, as it helps grow the community and keeps you notified for whenever I upload. If you want to know what happens, then stay tuned for part 2. Will Kate find out the dark truth behind Creed and Luster's story? Will she meet Desiree, the emotion of desire, and learn how to fight to be able to survive? Will she survive and escape the void, or will she die trying? We'll find out on the next episode. My name is Michael Vanish Jr., and I am your narrator. Sweet dreams.